Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Hanis Nomahira binti Razwan. I'm student of Open University Malaysia at Ipoh Learning Center. I'm student Bachelor of Psychology with Honours, and this video for my subject ABPD1303 Adolescent Psychology. Today, I will be sharing a self-reflection on an important disagreement I had with my parents during my teenagers years. My topic is balancing work and study, a lesson in communication. As teenagers, we often want to make our own decision, believing we know what's best for us. However, our parents see things from a different perspective shaped by their experiences and concern for our future. This disagreement with my parents was a turning point for me, as it taught me valuable lessons about responsibility, time management, and communication. The objective of this presentation is to reflect on a personal experience that shaped my relationship with my parents. I will discuss what happened, how it made me feel, and how it affected our trust and communications. Finally, I will share the lesson I learned from this experience. This agreement I will discuss happened during my final year of secondary school. Instead of fully focusing on my studies for the SPM examination, I decided to work part-time. My parents strongly disapproved of my decision because they believe education should always come first. However, from my perspective, I saw working as an opportunity to be independent and earn my own money. This difference in opinion led to several arguments and tensions between us. Let me explain what happened in more detail. During Form 5, I took a part-time job because I want financial independence. I enjoy being able to earn my own money, help with expenses, and buy things without relying on my parents. However, my work schedule was demanding. I often finished work late, which meant I came home exhausted and had very little time left for studying or revising. My parents noticed this and became increasingly worried. They constantly remind me that SPM was important for my future, and they believed that I should quit my job to focus entirely on my studies. I, on the other hand, felt differently. I believe I could handle both my job and my studies. I didn't see why they were so worried because in my mind, I was being responsible by working and earn money. They keep on told me to quit my job and made me feel like they didn't trust me to manage my own life. This disagreement brought out many emotions in me. First, I felt frustrated because I thought my parents didn't understand my reasons for working. I was proud of my independence and wanted them to see that I was capable of making my own decisions. Second, I felt misunderstood. I wasn't working just for fun. I had real reason, and I felt like my parents weren't listening to my side of the story. Instead, they only focused on my grades and SPM results. Lastly, I felt pressure. On one side, I want to continue working, but on the other, I also didn't want to disappoint my parents. Their constant reminders about my studies made me feel stressed, as if I wasn't doing enough, even though I was trying my best to balance both responsibilities. This disagreement had a noticeable impact on my relationship with my parents. At first, it caused tension between us. Our conversations became shorter, and I started avoiding discussions about school and work. I felt like every time we talked, it would turn into another lecture about how I was making the wrong decision. I also started staying out later, not necessarily because I want to rebel, but because I want to avoid conflict at home. I felt that no matter what I said, they wouldn't understand my perspective. Over time, however, I began to see things differently. I started realizing that my parents weren't trying to control me. They were simply worried about my future. Their strictness wasn't because they didn't care about me, but because they cared too much. That realization slowly changed how I approached the situation. Eventually, my parents and I had a serious discussion. Instead of agreeing, we both took the time to listen to each other. I explained why working was important to me. I wanted to be responsible for myself, and I believed I could handle both work and studies. My parents, on the other hand, explained that their biggest fear was that I would regret my decision if my grades suffered and it affected my future opportunities. After this conversation, we found a compromise. I agreed to manage my time better, set aside dedicated hours for studying, and not come home too late. In return, my parents allowed me to continue working as long as I keep my grade ups. From this experience, I learned three important lessons. First, parents' concern come from love, not control. Even though their approach might seem strict, they always have our best interests in mind. Second, time management is crucial. I realized that I needed to set priorities and be disciplined in balancing work and studies. Third, communication and compromise are key. Instead of agreeing, expressing my thought calmly and listening to my parents' perspective helped us reach a mutual understanding. Looking back, I now appreciate my parents' concerns. At the time, I saw them as being too strict, but now I understand that they only wanted the best for me. This experience shaped how I approach conflict today. It taught me the value of communication and the importance of balancing responsibility. Also, learned that sometimes what seems like control is actually guidance from those who care about us. Most importantly, I realized that disagreement with our parents don't mean they don't support us. It means they see potential in us and they want to make sure we don't make mistakes that we might regret later in life. This brings me to the end of my presentation. I hope my experience was relatable and insightful. Thank you for listening and I appreciate your time. My recorded video will be submitted as required. Thank you.